everyone, my name's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about all of the series I would like to start in 2022. So these are going to be series that I have not read any of before. I've got 8 series on this list, so I will definitely not be finishing all of these series, but I do hope to get to all of them, at least the first book. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first series on this list is the Liveship Traders trilogy by Robin Hobb. This is the series that comes after the Farseer trilogy, which I've talked about in previous videos. I really loved the Farseer trilogy, and I've heard that all of the books in the realm of the Elderling, world universe, are all incredible. So I am very excited to continue on in the realm of the Elderlings. So the Liveship Traders trilogy, from what I understand, does not follow Fitz. Fitz is not in this one. So it's kind of like a exploration of other parts of this world. So the first book, Ship of Magic, is about the wizard wood, which is one of the most precious commodities in the world. But the only way to get the wizard wood is to cross the Rain River Wilds. The only way to cross the Rain River Wilds is with a live ship. In order to create a live ship, there has to be 3 people from successive generations that all die on the ship. Once this happens, the live ship basically gets magical powers from what I can understand. So we follow this woman who is anticipating that she will be getting this ship after her father dies. However, she finds out that her father has left this ship to her brutal brother-in-law, while there are still others that want to try to steal this live ship. I'm very excited for this series. I love Robin Hobb's writing. Her characters are always superb, so I'm excited to get into a whole nother set of characters. But I'm also really excited to explore more about the magic in this world. In the Farseer trilogy, we got a little bit of it in the first 2 books, and then the third book we really explored a lot more of the magic and the lore of this world once we kind of understood the characters and their own individual magical powers. So this series seems like it's going to explore a lot more of this world and a lot more of the magic system and things like that, and I'm just so pumped. I really am so excited to read all of Robin Hobb's books because I really did love the Farseer trilogy. So look forward to me talking about Robin Hobb books all year. The next series I would like to start this year is The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne, the first one being Malice. I see people talk about this series all the time. I've only read one other John Gwynne book, and that's The Shadow of the Gods, and I really enjoyed it. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as a lot of other people did. I think I gave it 3 stars. I did like it. It was just, I never really connected with the characters with it, but I've heard that this book has incredible characters. I know that Erin over on Booked and Busy has always talked about how incredible all the characters are and how this is one of her favorite series of all time. So very excited to read this. I don't know a whole lot going into this book what it's about. I read the synopsis on Goodreads, and it sounds like it's just the ultimate fantasy story. There's giants and angels and demons and war. There's supposed to be a lot of politics involved, and supposedly the friendships are incredible. The plot is fun. So I'm very excited to get to this series. I'm trying to also get through a lot of John Gwynne's backlog, starting with this one. This is the one I see talked about the most, so I am very excited. And I also know that the second book after The Shadow of the Gods comes out, which I believe is called Hunger of the Gods, I think. And I am definitely going to be reading that this year. I have it pre-ordered already. So John Gwynne, good writer, very excited to read this, hoping I like it better than Shadow of the Gods. The next series I would like to start in 2022 is the Winnowing Flame trilogy by Jen Williams, the first one being The Ninth Reign. This book I only know about because of Elliot Brooks' YouTube channel. She talks about this series all the time. I've heard that it's very weird, it's hard to explain to people and the plot is weird, but that it's really good. I don't even think it's sold in bookstores in the US. I couldn't find it anywhere. I had to order it online. Basically what I think it's about from the synopsis is this dying city that is overrun by wolves, and there's a man that wants nothing to do with fixing the city or helping. So when this woman hires him to do something out of the city, he is quick to take her up on it. However, through their travels, they are wrapped up in all of this. They're wrapped up in the politics, and they end up having to be part of saving this city, from what I can understand. So I'm excited to read it. Everyone I've seen that has read it has loved it. There's 3 books in the series, so very excited to get to this. Don't know if I'll be able to finish all 3 of them. I do own all 3 of them now though, so hopefully I can at least read the first one this year. The next series on my list is the Locked Tomb series by Tamsin Muir, the first book being Gideon the Ninth. So technically, I've already read Gideon the Ninth, and I read half of the second book. However, I listened to this on audiobook, and it was very hard to follow. I've heard that the plot is very confusing and a lot of people have a hard time following it. I'm not surprised I'm also in that boat. However, I think because I listened to it via audiobook, I just could not connect. I couldn't connect to the characters. Everyone loves Harrow and Gideon, but I just did not care for them, and I honestly think it was just because I listened to it on the audiobook, and the entire time I had literally no idea what was going on. So I'm going to try to reread Gideon the Ninth this year, and hopefully reading it as a physical copy, I will connect more with it and really kind of understand more what's going on. And maybe also because I've already read it on the audiobook, I will be able to kind of come in with a little bit of knowledge of what's going on and really click with it. I always see all the fan art of Gideon and Harrow, and I'm I want to love this, and I do love the fan art, but I just didn't care about the characters in the book. So I'm really hoping that reading this again physically will really help me enjoy this more, and I can get on the bandwagon with everyone that is always raving about this series. The next series I want to get to this year is the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie, the first one being The Blade itself. I see Joe Abercrombie everywhere. All fantasy fans talk about Joe Abercrombie. He is the king of grimdark, or whatever. He's whatever his name is on Twitter. Everyone says he's the best grimdark author out there. So definitely want to get to this. From what I've heard, whenever anyone talks about this book, all they say is, there's no plot. They always say, this is about the characters, there's no plot in this first book. And so no one ever explains anything. They're good characters, you should read it. So I've never read a book like that. I've never read a book that is really just about the characters, except romance novels, because a lot of those you don't need, the plot is their relationship progressing. So I'm very excited to read a fantasy book that is just so character focused. I also don't think I've read a lot of grimdark. I don't know if some of the fantasies I've read are considered grimdark, but I'm very excited to dive into that specific subgenre of fantasy. So I'm hoping that this is a hit for me, because I did buy all 3 of them. So whenever I see people just raving about a series, I'm oh yeah, I'll totally like it. I will also buy all of them. So here we are. I now own too many books that I haven't read yet, but I am hoping to get to this series this year, and then from there continue on with his other series, because there are a lot of them. The next series on my list is Discworld by Terry Pratchett. This series has over 30 books in it. I don't know a whole lot about this series. All I know is they're loved by everyone that reads them, and I believe they're kind of small. I think it's just a pretty classical fantasy story, but super funny. From what I can understand, they're just really funny fantasy books that are supposed to be so fun to read. So I'm hoping to read these in between other books I'm reading, so that I can get kind of that cleanse of a funny read. I hope that that's what they are, because I'm gonna go into this thinking that these are gonna be so funny, and they're gonna be the most serious books or something, but I guess we'll see. The next series I would like to get to this year is the Lightbringer series by Brent Weeks, the first one being The Black Prism. So from what I can understand about what these are about, it's about this man who is the Prism, who is the most powerful person in the world. He's supposed to protect the peace. So he's basically a high priest and an emperor, and he's there to preserve the peace. However, he knows he's got a time limit on life. So this book follows him as he tries to keep the peace, and he has to explore how much he's willing to pay to protect his people. Again, don't know a whole lot about this series going into it besides that brief synopsis, but I see people talking about it all the time and saying that it is incredible. And I think there's 5 books in the series, and they are chunky from what I've seen. So I definitely will not be finishing this whole series this year, I don't believe, but I do really want to get to them. Basically, since I didn't start reading adult fantasy until about 2 years ago, I'm just trying to get through all of the big name fantasy series, and this is one I see up there all the time that people are talking about. So I'm very excited to get to this. I don't know if it's a completed series. I don't know if they're all out yet, but I think there's 5 out. So really hoping that I enjoyed this as much as everyone else does. The final series I would like to at least start this year is the Tawny Man trilogy by Robin Hobb. Basically, this YouTube channel is about to just become a Robin Hobb stan account because like all of my TBRs are just like, I'm gonna read this Robin Hobb book and this Robin Hobb book. But I do really want to get to this one. This is after the Liveship Traders trilogy, and this one gets back to Fitz's story. So it's supposed to be 15 years after the Red Ship Wars, and Fitz has kind of like secluded himself. He's like, I don't want to be a part of anything, and it's just him and Night Eyes out in the wilderness, like all by themselves. However, he is again tangled up in the politics of this world, and so I'm just really excited. After the way the Farseer trilogy ended with Fitz's story, I just really want to know so much more about the magic in this world, and I really hope that as Fitz is maturing and getting older, that a lot more of his like different powers that he can use kind of like come to light and we get to see more of the lore of this world. I also am praying that the Fool is also in this series because their relationship is like top notch, and I know like towards the end of all of the series that they're in it together a lot, but I don't know for sure if he has a big part in this series, but I hope so because I love their relationship. So that is all of the series I would like to at least start in 2022. I would like to thank you so much for watching, and if you liked this, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you're going to be reading this year, and let me know if you've read any of these series and what you thought of them. So until next time, thank you so much.